Iris Energy, is this the next big 10x stock that everybody's talking about? Because already it's a boomer, as in like the stock is booming to the moon. It's gone from $5 in April around liberation to being liberated to a 5x at $26 per share, now a $7 billion market cap company. Is this the company to keep investing in, take chips off the table? What even is it? Well, we dove into it this morning because somebody on the live stream donated $1.99, and this is not personalized financial advice for them, but this video was inspired by your commentary in our live stream. So thanks for always being there and talking about this company, which so much sounds like I want to read this off as IRAN, but it's actually IREN, which is Iris Energy. And at first I'm like, all right, what is this? Is this just going to be like another meme play or something that's getting an increase in volume here, and it's going to, crash and burn, the likes of which, you only see at like, I don't know, an open door, which should be renamed closed door. Obviously, we already know the old news at this point, that they secured basically a big lease contract for NVIDIA chips. They came up with this new phrase. I haven't heard of this before. We're pleased to have secured NVIDIA preferred partner status. I think this is really just a way of saying, hey, NVIDIA will sell us big chips because we can flash the cash and pay for it. So I don't really think that status means anything. Like, NVIDIA wants to sell these chips, right? I mean, it's kind of like going to your Costco and being like, I got a big grocery store order. And they're like, oh, do you have the money to pay? Oh, you do? All right, yeah, we'll sell you. We'll say, well, we'll ship it to your back door for you. Great. That's like preferential treatment. We'll take it. But anyway, basically, here's a company that's kind of trying to be like CoreWeave. That's the way I think of them. But they've got some really big differences to CoreWeave. And that's actually where I want to start with my analysis on them, because I think it's most interesting that this company has significantly less debt than CoreWeave. That's what I want you to pay attention to with this company, and then I'll tell you why. So watch this. CoreWeave has $13.9 billion of debt. That's about 6.5 short term. Then they've got a bunch of other debt as well. Like, I'm not even including everything in here. This is the sheet on CoreWeave right here. What I'm really doing is I'm taking their current liabilities of about $6.5 billion, not including deferred revenues. I'm taking their non-current debt of about another 7.4. It's roughly $13.9 billion in debt at CoreWeave, right? Well, they have equipment of $16.6 billion. So think about that. It's kind of like real estate, right? I got real estate of $16 billion and 13.9 in debt. Well, that's an 83% debt to asset ratio at CoreWeave. That's a lot of freaking debt. And it's one of the reasons I actually made a video on the channel 2 or 3 weeks ago, like, why the CoreWeave crash should scare you. And we talked about how, it got mega hyped up and momentumed up from 40, but eventually it's going to be a bag holder. And in the near term, it has downside risks. And the stock is plummeting on CoreWeave. I mean, you look at CoreWeave right here. Look at this deceleration of momentum right here. It's basically following your fib retracement straight down. The lines! Remember,
bullish catalyst.
Coupon code is bullish catalyst for the Meet Kevin Alpha report. That's been kicking ass lately. Get that membership over at meetkevin.com. But look at this. Debt to PPE. So it's kind of like debt to real estate, right? Debt to equity. Debt to plant, property, and equipment at IREN or Iris Energy is only 7.5%. So at CoreWeave, you have 83.7% debt, 13.9 billion to 16.6 in plant, property, and equipment. Iris Energy has debt of about 150 million bucks. Look at this. Current liability is 150 million bucks. They do have convertibles, but I'm not including those because that's going to convert to equity of about $1 billion here. And you could rerun the math if you want and put this in. But honestly, even if you took $1.1 billion and you slapped that onto their PPE or as a ratio of their plant, property, and equipment of 2, you'd be sitting at about 55% if you included their convertible. But this is going to convert to equity, so it's going to be gone. So it's still way less debt than what they have at CoreWeave. If you compare their debt to market cap, Debt to market cap, so 16.6-ish or sorry, $13.9 billion divided by the market cap at CoreWeave, you're at 30.2%. At Iris, you're only at 2.1%. So way less debt, which is fan-freaking-tastic at Iris. I like that. I like starting at the balance sheet. And so then I'm like, all right, why is their balance sheet so good? Like, where's all the money coming from? And here it is. Bitcoin, baby. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. As I hit the keyboard, the page slipped. Bitcoin. They have actually seen of their Bitcoin revenue increase, which has exploded. They made almost $500 million in Bitcoin mining revenue compared to $184 million last year. Now almost $500 million. 61% of the increase came because Bitcoin price went up. Now that's both a good and a bad. It's good because it means they got a lot of money that they could spend on capital expenditures from crypto revenue and not have to finance it. In fact, if you look at their cash flow statement, you could see that, yes, they issued convertibles, $700 million. Yes, they did issue stock of $600 billion. So they raised money to go invest in AI chips now, data center chips, right? They started this transition in 2024. They were a Bitcoin mining company that's like, wow, we can go make money with AI data centers. Yes, they're following the trend. It is fashionable to get into AI data centers right now over ASICs for mining, Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever. And so what you end up finding is they ended up blowing $573 million on plant, property, and equipment in the last year. They are plowing money into these AI data centers. But understand that they generated $245 million in net cash from their operations, a lot of that driven by mining revenues. So I think that's why they have lower debt, is they're able to take their mining revenues and plow it into servers in a profitable manner. They're making money. They didn't always make money because the Bitcoin mining revenue has exploded. And so they're making money even when you include depreciation of $181 million on probably at least some of this accelerated depreciation. They're still making money, which then enables this sort of flywheel of throwing more money into AI data centers. Now, there's a plus and a minus here.
Let's be real. The big phone carriers are ripping people off. Over $100 a month for a phone service that barely improves year after year. Nuts. That's why I'm excited about today's sponsor, Helium Mobile. Remember to use my information in the description down below so you can join. They're completely changing how wireless works. You can get an actual phone plan for free. It's called their Zero Plan. You get 3 gigabytes of data, 100 minutes of talk, and 300 texts, no contract, no credit card, no nonsense. Personally, I think this is the perfect plan for like a 2FA plan in case you need one of those. Like, you have your main number that everybody knows, but then you have a second number because most phones let you have 2 phone numbers on now, sometimes even more. So you put on a second number, use that for your 2FA. Come on, easy way, and you get to try out the service. But anyway, here at Helium, no contracts, no credit card needed for the Zero Plan. You don't need a new device. You don't need a new number if you want to port over an existing number, or if you want to add a new number, you can do that as well. And here's the kicker. Helium Mobile is the only phone plan that pays you back. They've built a reward system called Cloud Points. It sort of works like credit card points or airline miles. You earn them for just using your phone, and then you redeem them for gift cards at brands like Amazon, Apple, Starbucks, Target, or even nonprofits like St. Jude's or Doctors Without Borders. If you need more data, you can also upgrade to their Air plan, which is about $15 per month, or the Infinity plan for $30 per month with unlimited everything. Still way cheaper than the big guys. And coverage? No worries. The cool thing here is you get T-Mobile's 5G Plus, Helium's own community-powered network, kind of like the Airbnb of telecom. That's how they keep it reliable, affordable, and yes, even at one level, totally free. You can sign up by downloading the Helium mobile app down below and make sure to use code KEVIN. Stop overpaying for phone service and join Helium.
Obviously, this is great when Bitcoin's price goes up, but I don't want to sound redundant or like, this should be obvious, but if Bitcoin's price trends down, then obviously you're going to have less money that you can use from Bitcoin mining to go invest into chips, and then you're going to have to borrow more. So the good thing, though, with this company is they have the capacity to borrow more because in my opinion, their debt position is substantially lower than that of CoreWeave. So like if somebody's like, Kevin, you need to pick one to invest in, even though this is a much smaller company, I'd much rather invest in IREN Energy than CoreWeave. Now, I'm personally not the biggest fan of investing in data centers in general, because I think that eventually they're going to be the bag holders of the industry. Like NVIDIA's going to make their profits. They're going to make their high revenues, their high margin revenues, because they don't even manufacture the chips. They just design them. NVIDIA's going to make their money. They're going to cash out. The server rack manufacturers, or, the collators, basically, like Dell or Supermicro, they'll make their money, albeit at a low margin. And the bag holders are going to be these companies like CoreWeave or IREN Energy that eventually hold all these chips. And then we're looking around going, man, do we really need this much AI compute? I don't know. That's the big risk here. So you could have a combined risk, right? You could have a recession where CapEx spending goes down on data centers, LLMs become a commodity, and Bitcoin prices fall all at the same time. Then you're going to be left holding the bag of all these ASICs and GPUs that aren't being fully utilized, and you're screwed. So that's like your bear scenario. The good news is IREN Energy, again, has less debt than the other, than their competitor, CoreWeave. The downside is what happens if they don't end up being able to convert the convertibles. So you really want, if you really want to get into this, you should look at the details of their convertible, because it is possible that their convertible debt doesn't end up converting if their stock price plummets in the event of some kind of recession, and then you do have that $1 billion of convertible debt, right? That's going to be something to pay attention to. The convertibles, I'm trying to see if I could find it really quickly, if they have any outline on here, but I don't want to spend too much. Let's see here. Embedded convertible notes, convertibles. Okay, so we have $550 million of 3.5% convertibles due in 2029. Okay, so they convert in 2029, but at what price? What do they convert at? 2029, in conjunction, prepaid, purchase, aggregate shares, blah, 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 blah. It might be so they're due in 2029. So you've got some time here. You've got 4 years, right? So it's probably not that big of a deal, but that sets up a little bit of a bear case scenario for you if you're in like an extended downturn in 2029, right? So just something to keep in mind if you're thinking about this company. They've also got quite a bit of mining hardware worth paying attention to as well. And they're expanding quite a bit. I mean, their facilities, you could see they've got facilities. I'll pull it up for you here. You could actually see this as well in the Meet Kevin app. If you download the Meet Kevin app, I put these screenshots in there. Which is really convenient, in my opinion. This is just where I throw my data. We're actually going to change it from calling it a news tab to just calling it a data tab, which I think is really valuable because, that's really what we want as investors, right? We want data. I mean, in addition to obviously the data and the insight that we provide in the Alpha Report to course members every single day, which you get lifetime access to if you join using the coupon code. But you can actually see an example here. Here's the Meet Kevin app up on screen. I like the green. I know some people don't like the green, but you can see I've got, some of the core components of this in the Meet Kevin app under the news tab, which, we personally find very convenient for consolidating this information. But here on screen, you could see that you've got multiple British Columbia sites. It's very common to have British Columbia sites because you have really good hydropower over there, hydroelectric. It's inexpensive. It's efficient. This company brands themselves as a green energy company, renewable resources only for their data centers. Let's be real. They just buy renewable credits to offset when they're using natural gas in like Texas or whatever for their, Childress Horizon 1 facility or the Sweetwater facilities. A lot of these under construction, they've got like a total of 3.9 gigawatts of electricity expected. This is big. Like this company is rightfully so. They survived the early crypto winter of 2022 or whatever. They survived the crypto winter. Now they're pivoting to AI, using revenues that they're getting from Bitcoin, and plowing it into AI data centers. And honestly, they're doing a great job here. I mean, they've got 5.5 thousand Blackwell 200s. They've got 2.3 thousand 300s, B300s. They've got 1.2K GB 300s. And this is in addition to the lease that they just signed. They just signed a lease for, I want to say it was 1,900 of them, worth about $168 million with NVIDIA. 2-year lease contract, which is basically the full payment of them. And they are financing it at $96 million. Yeah, there it is. $168 million total cost, financing of 96. So they are increasing some of their financing, but I think they have the capacity to do that because they're in a relatively low debt position, trading for about 22 times earnings. We have no idea how the earnings are going to move in terms of volatility. I do think there is serious risk that if you do see a deterioration in Bitcoin pricing, that you're just going to end up with a big old poopy doopy for longer term EPS. So it's going to make it really hard to forecast a PEG ratio here because you're just going to be watching Bitcoin prices. But this gives you an idea of this company that not a lot of people know about, but IREN, again, Iris Energy, ticker IREN. I don't really like the ticker, but who cares? So again, to me, much more desirable than what I'm seeing at CoreWave. And now these types of analyses don't tend to get a lot of views. So if you like this kind of analysis, make sure to leave a comment and just let me know, like, no, this is like what I want to come for. And that's my goal, to make sure you come back over and over again. By the way, in the Alpha report this morning, I mentioned don't go bullish on a firm. And look at this, couldn't even hold the line that we were bouncing on in pre-market. Couldn't even hold it, just bled out on the day. It's exactly what we called in the Alpha report tomorrow, along with the price action that's going on the Qs, what's going on in Tesla. Frickin' nailed it again in the Alpha report. So if you're not getting that report every single day before the market opens up, I think you're missing out. Now remember, you can get that over at meetkevin.com. I mean, you've heard the pitch before, but if you actually go to meetkevin.com, look at it. You get all the courses. I just want you to know too, we've got new lectures coming out in the real estate course, the real estate agent course, the property management course, and Trumponomics can be a big one for taxes. And this is going to be really applicable to 2026 as well. When the big beautiful bill is done, a lot of this is going to be done probably towards the end of September is when I expect these lectures will be done. And a lot of people suggest that joining the Meet Kevin membership could be a tax write-off as well towards your education expenses for investing or whatever. So do check that out. You pay once, you get lifetime access. Use coupon code Bullish Catalyst.
Bullish Catalyst.
Why not advertise these things that you told us here? I feel like nobody else knows about this.
We'll try a little advertising and see how it goes.
Congratulations, man. You have done so much. People love you. People look up to you.
Kevin Paffrath there, financial analyst and YouTuber. Meet Kevin. Always great to get your take.